In Mogadishu, the exchange of physical currency has largely vanished from daily life. A customer buys a crate of mangoes, enters a short code on a basic mobile phone, and waits for a digital confirmation. This isn't a niche technological trend. More than 80% of the adult population in Somalia now uses mobile money as their primary financial tool, conducting millions of transactions every day. This digital landscape emerged from a total collapse of formal institutions. By the early 1990s, the nation's central banking system had been destroyed by civil war, leaving the country without a regulated currency or a functioning credit market. This multi-billion-dollar digital economy was not imported by foreign firms. Instead, it was built by local entrepreneurs who adapted centuries-old organizational patterns to a modern medium. For millennia, the Somali coast served as a primary trade corridor. Records from the land of Punt and the later Ajuran Sultanate show these ports were the main source of precious aromatics and spices for the ancient Egyptians and Babylonians. The merchants here maintained their dominance through a strategy historians call the cinnamon secret. By formal agreement, Somali and Gulf Arab traders barred Indian ships from entering Red Sea ports, effectively separating the Roman buyers from the Eastern suppliers. This blockade allowed Somali merchants to control the flow of information. They convinced the Roman and Greek world that cinnamon grew locally in the Somali peninsula, allowing them to monopolize the supply and dictate prices for European markets. The wealth generated by these information monopolies built a permanent urban network. Coastal cities like Berbera and Xyla became sophisticated trade hubs, featuring stone architecture that stood in stark contrast to the nomadic regions of the interior. These early states were built on trade intelligence, the ability to sit at the center of a network and control the flow of both goods and data. When the central government fell in 1991, it left a total institutional void. With no banks to hold deposits or facilitate transfers, the physical and regulatory infrastructure of the economy simply ceased to exist. The population adapted by relying on the Hawala system, an ancient, trust-based network. This allowed individuals to move capital across borders through local agents without the need for a central clearinghouse. In the early 2000s, local telecommunications firms like Hormuud Telecom began to digitize these existing trust networks. They developed EVC-Plus, allowing users to store and send funds via basic mobile signals. Bypassing physical bank branches, value moves direct, person to person. The scale is vast. Processing over $2.7 billion monthly, it's the country's primary mechanism for daily commerce. Because there was no legacy banking system to protect, Somalia was able to skip an entire generation of financial technology, adopting a purely digital model of exchange. This digital infrastructure has also become a critical tool for international aid. Global NGOs now use EVC-Plus to distribute unconditional cash transfers directly to displaced and drought-affected communities. These digital transfers move faster and more securely than physical supply chains, ensuring aid reaches individuals in remote or conflict-prone regions without the risk of theft or logistical delays. At the same time, undersea fiber optic cables like DARE-1 have connected the Somali coast to high-speed data networks in the rest of the world. This connectivity has supported a growing startup scene in cities like Mogadishu and Hargeisa, where a new generation of founders is addressing local challenges. These startups are creating specialized systems for remote healthcare, for digital e-learning, and localized logistics, services that were previously unavailable due to the lack of physical infrastructure. What began as a survival mechanism in a stateless environment has become the foundational infrastructure for an integrated regional economy. The Somali government is now moving to institutionalize these gains through the Digital Transformation Strategy for 2025 to 2030, a framework designed to align all national digital projects. Somalia is positioning itself as a technical leader within the East African community, particularly in the adoption of artificial intelligence to modernize regional media and institutional communication. The country is also accelerating the One Network Area initiative, which will lower the cost of cross-border calls and expand the reach of digital payment systems across East Africa. These modern initiatives mirror the strategy of the ancient spice trade, using a strategic position at the edge of the continent to broker the flow of information between different markets. This digital ecosystem is creating new export opportunities. Local freelancers and tech teams are now providing digital services to global clients, allowing them to earn foreign currency while working from Mogadishu or Hargeisa. By utilizing the digital frontier as their new medium of exchange, the modern brokers of the Somali coast have reclaimed their historical role as the masters of the network.